Hey, Sagittarius. All right, I'm going to try and kind of wing this. So I always disclaimer, I mean, I do love Sagittarians, but I have a lot of them in my life. And Sagittarius people are near and dear to my heart. So I'm going to try and like do this. I have to, this is a little bit of a come to Jesus moment. So we have to, now, disclaimer, in my deep chart, I'm a Sagittarius. And you might ask, what's the deep chart? I'll tell you about that later. It'll be coming up, not today, but it's something that I'm going to be teaching people about shortly. But I understand, even regardless, Jupiter square, my sun moon opposition, I'm very Sagittarian, like believe in possibility and love inspiring people, getting people excited. And a lot of times I feel like I'm right. And maybe I'm right up to that point in my life, but I still have a lot to learn. That's a Sagittarius journey. But Sagittarians, you guys are you're the ones that make life have meaning and be fun and have something to move towards or something exciting that's on the horizon. There's that saying everybody needs, what is it? Somebody to love, work to do, and something to look forward to. And you guys are like the something to look forward to, right? So Sagittarius is wonderful. Now, you guys have been getting hammered, frankly. Sag as an archetype has been getting kind of hammered. We all have in different ways, but for you guys, you've received, okay, let me back up. Put Sagittarius in the first house in an imaginary chart, okay? So imagine your sun's in the first house, all Sagittarians. This is going to be the Sagittarius chart. Then you can put any of the transiting planets, in whichever sign they're at, put them in the house. So like Aries, which has been, Uranus, which has been in Aries, that's going to be in your 5th house, if you count in order. Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries. Okay. So Aries in the 5th house, Uranus and Aries. And what this means is you guys have been experiencing this in your life, a desire for authenticity. I want to live a life that's truly mine. And this sense of wanting to be a part of the game, and I kind of feel like from your 5th house, though, you've been erratic, and you've also had Neptune forming a square to your sun. And Neptune right now is like exactly in the middle of Pisces. So it's really squaring your sun, hanging out, in the 4th house. And so this can be a sense of, for some people, like our home, our roots. Maybe we got divorced, back in around 2008, 2009. Maybe our foundation with our family, something happened and just disappeared on us, or the thing that we believed in that was our sort of core emotional grounding just went away. It dissolved right in front of our eyes, disappeared in front of our eyes. If you are an older Sagittarius, then that may be the case for you. If you're younger, it might have been something in your home growing up back around that time, so it just depends on your age. But the point is, everything's with design purpose. It's so beautiful. Like Sagittarians come into this world with a certain confidence in their ability to make things happen, that everything will work out okay. Like everything works out okay for me. That's a Sagittarian mantra. It's all going to be okay. Just follow your heart, believe in yourself. Like you can do this. Like they're great at coaching and supporting people, right? They're awesome in that way. But a lot of times with Neptune squaring the sun, they themselves have been feeling unsure of their own journey because there's been this lack of foundational, this is what you believe in, this is your home, these are your roots, these are your sort of guiding values and guiding principles, right? It's that area has been, through an event of some sort, has been absent or missing. You can also argue that depending on which, when you were born, we've had a lot of the outer planets moving through the signs of Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, like Neptune, Pluto, of course, and Uranus. So these placements have been loosening and dismantling and shaking up the foundations that we build our families on, like marriage, and even deeper than that, sort of gender roles and gender identity and that sort of stuff, and all that being all just getting mixed up and rewritten. And all these new souls being born, bringing their material, right? So what happens is Sagittarians are like, whoa, I thought this is what my life was going to be, like this path, and now it's like something totally different, and I was going to be this path, I guess. Okay, I'm going to go that way. And they go down this second path, and they're like, whoa, that's not what I thought it was going to be. And then they're, this kind of sense of, I'm not sure I can trust myself. Like, I might not go the right way. And so then there can be this lack of confidence almost in being 100% sure, like I'm doing the right thing. And so then partnership has become an area for a lot of Sagittarians where they've had people who have let them down in their partnerships. Now, this might be because they've entered partnerships with a false belief about this other person, okay? So having Neptune in their fourth has been rewriting sort of their belief systems. If they've been projecting onto people who it is they think that these other people are. Oh, I know you, or I'm going to fix you, or I'm going to heal you, or I can inspire you or guide you, like I see the good in you, that sort of thing. And then we connect with that person, but then we're deeply inside, we're sort of knowing this isn't quite maybe right for me, or something's missing, or something's off. And then there's the wandering thing that can kind of happen with Sages. But if we look at Pluto then, you've had Pluto, which is in Capricorn, in your second house. So, second house has to do with your sense of security in the world, your ability to like master. Basically with it in Capricorn, it's like you grew up believing you're going to go to college, get a degree, get a job, and be able to make money and everything would be great, right? And that didn't work out so well, especially those of you who are my age. Sagittarians that are my age had to kind of totally rewrite what adulthood looks like as far as like making money. And then your sense of confidence in yourself, your sense of yourself, if you're a man, your sense of like your self-worth and your self-value. It's not going to be found through money or possessions, through that realm, right? So that stuff all being kind of rewritten for you guys. And then if you throw on top of it, and the women as well, it's not just men, but I'm saying Capricorn, the masculine archetypes in our society are the thing that have been being totally demolished and rewritten. And so it's affecting men's sense of self. Like, if a woman doesn't need me really, then who am I? What do I, like they're having to refigure out manhood, basically. Second wave feminism, it's problematic. So, okay. Now, Sagittarius, though, you guys are optimistic, hopeful, right, for the future. You guys are the ones who are like, okay, well, it's been not that great, but we can fix this. We got this. And I feel like Jupiter for you guys, which is hanging out in Sag, in your first house. It's been in your 12th. So last year might have been kind of a shit show. Could have been a time where you may have had, here's the thing, it's a mixed bag. You may have had things going well relative to your career, some opportunities with work and that kind of thing, especially the year before, and some things that were looking good on the horizon, sort of 2015, 2016. But then you may have also experienced a little bit of disillusionment kind of this last year with your relationships with people, romantic relationships, but also like work relationships, business ones, partnerships that didn't work out the way you were hoping, or where you're feeling, if you're feeling at all like you're a slave, or you're just not getting your fair share. And if you've been feeling your juices, your creative juices, like I want to be creating something that's mine, but if you still are feeling unsure about that being fully formed and how you're going to do that and what that looks like, just be patient. Especially you need to look and pay attention to where Neptune's at, because Neptune's right in the middle. So just like depending on when your birthday is, if you're a November Sag, then you're someone who's already had Neptune square your sun, it's separating. And if you're a December Sagittarius, especially if you're if you're at the end of Sagittarius, then you've yet to be hit by Neptune fully. So your life has yet to be let's just say dismantled. People who were born at the beginning of December, so I've got a couple of friends actually whose birthdays are like right around, I don't know, between 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, around those dates of December, you have Neptune squaring you right now. So as you're hearing me talk and I'm like, oh, there's these things for your future, it's great and yay, and you might also be feeling really optimistic because of Jupiter, but you may also be feeling tired and feeling kind of like, okay, I gotta find this like strength inside of myself to believe what it is you're saying, right? Because I've been on this journey and it's exhausting. And you've had Jupiter in your 12th, which means you had something really exciting. When Jupiter was, of course, in Libra in the 11th, like things were looking great in your relationships, your partnerships with people, whether it was business or romantic, and then things maybe went kind of sideways, or something about the commitments that you made had obligations that felt really heavy, and where maybe you're kind of going, is this really what I'm wanting to be doing right now? You could have also just straight up had people who were, where there was issues of lies or dishonesty or things being hidden, things being presented and then it not being what it really was, just all kinds of stuff. Feeling taken advantage of, I guess. So now it's like, okay, Jupiter's in the first. You guys have control of the truth now. Your journey is yours. It's not anyone else's. But because Neptune is squaring you guys, and Uranus is still at the very end of Aries, for throwing a little bit of heat, throwing a little bit of a trine at you still. You're somewhat dealing with, let's see, for you guys, it's going to be, what, in your 8th, right? Uranus? Yeah, in your 8th. Is that right? It's my brain. I got to look at a chart. Sometimes I can visualize things, but when I'm talking, it like gets my brain in a different mode. I'm like, dumb mode. No, it is in, where are we? Okay, Sagittarius. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, 5. I already said that. Sometimes, see, I'm like an airhead. So you guys are receiving from Uranus this trine in your 5th house. So where in your life have you been the one who's needed freedom, who has purposely maybe picked situations where you have been Uranian even? Maybe you feel like your life is like all over the place, but maybe there's stuff that that you've chosen specifically maybe to prevent feeling trapped. Maybe you found yourself with people who are a challenge, like in your relationships. Maybe in your business partnerships, you have been too optimistic and too hopeful, not looking at all of the, nitty-gritty details. Maybe in your love life, you've been a little bit of wanting some freedom, wanting space, But like having Uranus move into your 6th, you're going to be experiencing what Scorpio's been kind of dealing with, which is other people working through their relationship to their independence and their individuation and their freedom, and also you owning the role you play in people's lives. When you pull people into your space that later on you go, whoa, they were crazy, they were abusive, they were this, they were that. You pulled them in, right? So it's going to be, I think, a time of recognizing your relationship to Uranus, the areas where you might, instead of just speaking your truth right at the beginning and saying, that doesn't work for me. You need to be more like an Aquarius. Sagittarius are really blunt and honest, but they're also optimistic. A lot of times they just don't, an Aquarius tends to be more contrarian, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's not going to work. And it's like, oh, okay. You got to harness that Uranian energy a little bit more and be okay with ruffling feathers, I guess. But again, Sagittarians tend to be pretty honest, so it's not like that. But it's just, it feels like you feel like you've been being honest, but other people haven't been being honest, or other people have been the ones that have been causing your life to be chaotic. But really, there is stuff for sure that you've done and chosen to do that has there's a deeper message there. So look in your chart. Where is it you're holding Uranus? Which generation are you from? Which house is it in? Are you here? What is it that your soul has come here? The trauma, the mental, collective, conscious trauma, like a belief that is a conditioned belief about gender, let's say. Women should stay at home barefoot and pregnant. That would be an example. Let's pretend like that's a belief, okay? That's a trauma to women. So anyway, you need to rewrite your relationship to your Uranus in your birth chart. If you're my generation, Uranus and Scorpio, that's tied into sexuality, commitments to people, like marriage, money, how we make our money, all that stuff. So, big dynamics changing. Okay, now, let's think about where you're having opportunity. Your areas for growth this year and for big expansion. Jupiter in your 1st. How is it when you pull back on that bow and you go to shoot an arrow, I don't know, you see something in the distance. Let's just say it's a target that we're going to shoot, okay? And you're looking at your target and you're sure that you see the center of that target and you feel steady and sure, right? You pull back and you let go, release. And then it's kind of like it's up to the fates. It's up to the wind. Maybe there's some wind. Maybe someone sort of spooked you right as you pulled the string, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like Zen and the Art of Archery. You should read that book this year, actually. Zen and the Art of Archery. It's a beautiful book about simply the process of pulling back on the bow or the string, or what is it, the string? I forget which is which, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, the string. And letting go and aiming at your mark with the hopes, in fact, with the belief and the faith that it's going to hit the mark, but really not knowing if it's going to hit it or not. And that's the Sagittarius thing, is like we get excited, something new that we want to share and put out there, or a new business we want to start, and this thing's going to be amazing, it's going to work, it's going to be fantastic, and we're seeing it hit the mark, we're seeing the success. We're not necessarily considering we're not quiet enough to consider all of the other smaller details. So pulling in the Virgo, right? Like, you guys have had Uranus activating you with air, with like, you've had, and in your 5th house too, so just amping that up. You've had Pluto in Capricorn, which has been hanging out in your 2nd house, sort of making you feel, I suppose, afraid of not having, like insecurities in the area of money, of like survival, feeling like maybe you're in survival mode even. Themes that have had to do with money or materialism that maybe have had an extra like focus, dealing with other people's stuff in that area. And then you've been dealing with like, it's like it feels like you've been managing other people's financial stuff, hang-ups or something, I don't know. If you've also been living off of, if other people have been supporting you. And if you've like gone, oh yeah, they have kind of been really like supporting me, or, you know, I've been sort of benefiting off of another person, like taking care of the bills or whatnot, you know, that's also Pluto in the 2nd. Recognize that, okay? That you've been Uranian, you've been maybe irresponsible in some ways, or you've been more free-loving or whatever. Neptune squaring the Sun also has been up in the 10th, and so that's like career, responsibility, Saturn, like what are you doing with your life as an adult? So you've kind of had a lot of things happening that have put you in a position to be a little bit free-floating and a bit open to learning through things not working out the way you hoped they would work out. It's like you're trying to shoot your arrow in the middle of I don't know, it's like a snowstorm or something. It's like you can't even quite see the target. You think you can, but you kind of can't. And so right now with Jupiter in the 1st, this isn't about like all of a sudden, I think that many people's take on Jupiter, I think, is really very surface and dumb, frankly, and does a disservice to people. Jupiter is going to bring abundance. Yeah, here you go, here. Jupiter in the 1st does tie to your body. You may suddenly feel like you know where that damn target is at. I know it's right there. Now, if you've been getting hammered this last few years by Neptune, if you're in the middle of Sagittarius in particular, you may definitely be doubting your ability to see a mark right now. You may be like, yeah, I think it's there, but I don't really freaking know. You know, you might be really feeling a bit despondent right now. And a sense of like, dude, what's everybody talking about Jupiter being so great? And I'm kind of feeling like, I'm not really entirely 100% sure about myself on this journey. Okay, that's a huge sign. That is like a flashing light that says, you're not clear on your truth. What do you believe about yourself? Have you been taking responsibility for your actions and your decisions? Have you been floating through life? Have you been like in denial about things? Have you been like in a place where if you've been doing a lot of partying, for example, and I'm not saying that all Sagittarius are at all, but having Jupiter in the 12th, sometimes that can be. There's an escapist quality when Jupiter is moving through the 12th, which would have been kind of last year. We're not necessarily in reality. We're kind of like, or we're in someone else's reality. We're living in someone else as a character in someone else's dream. And we're detached from our truth. And when Jupiter gets in the 1st, it's like, whoa, okay, all right, I need to be like I feel restless. I need to be like on my journey. I need to be like going the right way. And as a Sagittarius, you know, since that's your ruling planet, the tendency is like as a fire sign to like be doing things and to be busy and to like life is awesome and to be moving from a place that's not necessarily actually zen and the art of archery. You got to get zen right now. I feel like more than anything, Sagittarians should be getting quieter and doing more of the kind of, especially with Neptune squaring Jupiter, like things are going to feel really good, or they're going to feel, if you're in the middle, like I said, if you're in the middle of Sag and you're feeling kind of more despondent with Neptune, a little unsure, they're not as bad as you're thinking that they are. See, that's what I'm saying. Jupiter's like, here, I'm going to give you the truth, but Neptune's squaring it, so Neptune's kind of like, I don't know, I need to think of a good metaphor for this, because I have some Sages that are really pumped and stoked and excited about the future, and then I have others who are feeling really kind of like, oh, I'm scared, or I don't know if I should even move, like kind of almost frozen. And I will also note, having Saturn in the second in Capricorn, right, it's kind of got you in, it's holding you. So if you're in a position financially right now where someone else is like taking care of you, you might feel stuck. That's kind of Saturn in the second. You may feel kind of like someone has control over you, or has some sort of purse strings that they're doing that with. It could be someone that you work for, a boss. It could be a family member. I mean, it could be, it just depends. But again, are you allowing someone else to do the hard, dirty work or whatever, or are you living, or if you're Sagittarius that like could be making a lot more money and you're really talented, but you're like working for someone or you're not doing your own thing, that's also, that to me says you're supposed to be doing your own thing. And Saturn's going to show you reality. Saturn's going to say, hey, look, you're doing all this work. Like you're doing all this stuff, and you're maybe not showing the results in your pocketbook. You know, how do you feel about that? So Saturn, when it moves into your third, that's going to be kind of like into next year, I guess. But we'll talk about that later. So basically, you guys, just because Jupiter is in Sagittarius, that's the sign your sun is, doesn't mean that it's going to be all like popsicles and rainbows and everything being perfect. If anything, I'd say go slow it down. This is coming from me. I'm a spaz. As I said, I'm Sagittarius in my deep chart. Sun, Moon, square Jupiter, so I'm very Jupiterian and like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Slow it down, whether it is enthusiasm for potential in your life. Like if you're a younger person, a young Sagittarius is like, they're so wonderful because they're so full of like belief and hope for the future in their life. But also a lot of times they believe their own bullshit, like they believe their own failures. They talk themselves out of things as well, just as much as they, like, you know what I mean, get themselves into situations that are beneficial for them. So point is, get quiet, get in contact with spirit. Please, like, I don't know, if you don't believe in God, that's fine. I think if you're watching an astrology video, you probably believe somewhat in the spiritual realm. So please, prayer is awesome. Like lately, because as I said, I'm a deep chart Sag, I have been praying a ton, like just in the day, I'll pray to archangels, to God, to spirit guides, to guardian angel, you know, whoever. I don't know. I was praying to my Pegasus the other day. I'm like, hey, on this, all of you like spirit individuals or entities, if there's a Pegasus out there, I hope that I have a spirit guide that's Pegasus, if it exists, right? I'm not. See, that's Sagittarius. It's possible. Well, you don't know. You've never been on the other side. You know, you've never been dead or whatever. So, like, be open to the possibility that, you know, Sagittarius is, what's on the other side of that horizon? We would not have the new world without people who had that Sagittarian desire to be foolish and to get on a boat and take it across the ocean and et cetera, et cetera. So we need you guys. I just think right now, the harnessing if you are Sag who's had your ass kicked lately or handed to you, it's going to be okay. Tap into spirit. You need to ask, how can I serve? Ask God. Ask your spirit guides. Ask your angels. Where do you need me? Where do you need me? Because I don't know where to go. I'm clueless right now. Really feeling a sense like I need help. And they will help you. They will point you in the direction. And if they won't, pray for peace. Pray. I don't ask for protection as well. And ask for guidance. If you're getting abundance and blessings in your life, ask to see the story clearly. Okay, especially in your relationships with other people. Because Jupiter in the first, the tendency is you're going to believe the story you tell yourself, especially square Neptune. You know, square Neptune, it's going to be like, oh yeah, this is so great. And the other tendency is as well in your relationships. If you're in a relationship with someone and you're not all the way in, don't sell it like you're all the way in. Don't sell it like don't use hyperbole. Don't be like you're the love of my life with someone you start seeing or that you don't know very well. Things can be really exciting and great opportunities, but take your time. Please take your time. Okay, learn about yourself right now. Learn about yourself and learn about where you have been Uranian in your life and been a little chaotic and have broken rules and have been flaky and have not been responsible. And own that part. And then, yeah. And for some of you, by the way, last thing I'll say, sorry, I know this is going long. Aries and Sag are the big ones this year for me, you know, that have had with Jupiter. Last thing, there are a lot of Sagittarians who like so deeply believe in other people and they see the light in other people and they see like, yeah, you're amazing. I see the vision for you, and they support other people, but they have a really hard time like kind of doing it for themselves. So my hope is if Neptune's hitting you, use that as, rather than it making you feel like, I failed at things, or I don't know if I'm not good enough at this, or I feel beat up a little bit in this area. That's good. Let your ego kind of fall to the side, right? Because then it will open you up to prayer. Ask for inspiration. It'll open you up to reach out to mentors. It'll open you up to experiences where you're like crying and you're sad and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I do not know what to do. And all I can do is pray. All I can do at this point, like no one's even out there to help me, maybe, you know? And just trust that the universe is benefic. It's good. It's whatever you make it. And that's the big, big lesson. Like, Sagittarians are our wizards. You guys are our coaches. We need you to be optimistic and believe in the universe. But how can you believe in it if you've never tested it? How can you know things if you've never had those trials of faith where you've believed something and tried it and then your heart was broken because it didn't work out the way you thought? But then you learned something else that was way bigger and more beautiful than what you even initially thought was going to happen. Like, you can't have that experience unless you just get your ass kicked a little bit. Right? Yay, life. Coming for me. Moon in Virgo. I've had all kinds of things that have been teaching me many growth lessons. So, okay. Well, I love you guys, Sagittarians. And that's about all I have to say. So, use that Jupiter wisely. Zen and the Art of Archery. Go buy it. Read it. Read it. Don't just buy it. Read it. Okay. Love you. Bye.